Hey guys, gonna do one other video on the question, which is just a second. At what times in your life are you the happiest and why? And so I've done a couple. I've done the one that was growing up in Heatherwood and the fun times of just being a kid and playing all the time. That was super fun. And then also when Sierra was in cheer and going on those with just her and I. And so that was fun as well. But then, and so my third one is things that, make you the happiest and why is probably just going to be, um, there's two of these. I should do another video. I think I will. So I'm going to do this one first is golf trips. I just really like golf trips. And there's probably a few reasons why. So for one, I love golf, right? And that's fun. For two, you typically are going to really nice places. So the golf is really good. The resorts are good. Food's good. Not always, but for the most part, it is. Three, you're there with good friends. Every once in a while, you'll be the add-on, which I have another video that I've done about best trips of my life, and so it's funny that one of my favorite trips, if not, well, probably my favorite golf trip I've ever been on, was going with my buddy Bob Houston and his family. They went on a golf trip to Bandon, and they had a guy, had to back out got sick, some health reasons. And so I kind of got thrown in at the last second. Now I have known, the Houstons for a while, and so I knew two or three or four of them from prior, but but that's a rare occasion where you're the add-on and it's like super fun. So, but for the most part, you're kind of going with your best buddies. There's nobody else around, right? So, and I will say, typically my favorite golf trips are the ones that I don't plan because when you are the planner, it's a lot of work. And you got to make sure everybody shows up when they are and when they're supposed to be there, and dinners and bookings and plane flights and driving and yeah, you name it, weather. And everybody's always coming to you asking questions and wanting to know the answers and keeping score and doing all that. It's a whole lot more fun is not doing that and just going where someone tells you to go. Like, hey, tomorrow we have tee times to start at 9:30. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'll be down there at 9 o'clock and hit a few balls and we'll go play golf. But I think the biggest point is that you're just there by yourself, right? You don't have a wife, you don't have kids, you don't have parents, there's no nephews or nieces, or there's nobody. Like, you don't have to take care of anyone. The only other people there are adults, and they're there to take care of themselves. So you don't have to do anything for them. Minus the occasional guy that has too much to drink and you have to take care of him for, a half an hour to get him back to his room and and get him asleep. But minus that, you don't have to do anything. So you are just on your own. And it's not something that you want to do all the time, right? But every once in a while, a couple times a year, there are 4 or 5 days in a row where all you have to do is take care of yourself. You don't have to decide where does everybody want to go to eat or what do we get for an appetite. Like, you just order whatever you want and you do whatever you want. You go to sleep when you want. You wake up when you want to make sure you get to the tea time, but you get to do everything. So I typically have, two or three golf trips kind of always in the hopper that are coming up in the next, we'll call it year. And that is always fun because it makes me look forward to something, right? So there's always like, yeah, here in a couple months, yeah, I got this golf trip, and then this summer I'm gonna go on this golf trip, and you're always looking forward to those, and they're just kind of and for me, I'm always the guy. So this is another part I like is that when I say, hey, I'm gonna go on that golf trip, I always say, hey, cool, how much is it? Let me send you the money, because I want to pay for it. That way, when I'm going on it, I'm not like, oh man, I don't know, this thing's gonna cost, $2,800, and do I have the money? Instead, you're like, oh man, yeah, I forgot in May we're going to, Sand Valley up in Wisconsin. And somebody's like, "Oh, I know it's gonna be expensive." Like, yeah, I don't know. I sent him my money, last November, so I don't even remember what it cost. But all I know is I'm all paid up and I'm ready to go. Now I just have to buy, golf and lodging, and getting there is all paid for. I just have to buy some food and drinks while I'm there. So yeah, this will be great. So they're just fun. I just like them. The golf is awesome. I mean, half the time you're on some of the most beautiful places on earth, right? You're on coasts, that are overlooking the ocean, or you're in the mountains and you're in Colorado or Canada somewhere and it's incredible, or they're just gorgeous. You're outside and you're moving, and but you're not moving enough to where you're like, we're not taking a trip and doing Tough Mudder runs, or we're not doing marathons. You don't wake up the next day and you're like, oh man, I'm so miserable. Now some guys are, right? Some guys have back trouble and all that kind of stuff. I just don't have that at this point in my life. At 50, I can play 2 or 3 rounds of golf and wake up the next day and be like, hey, let's go. So that part is nice. So, but I just really enjoy it, and I enjoy the part of, you know the new course, and it's fun, and seeing new parts of the country. For the most part, I've done a whole bunch of out of country golf trips. I haven't gone over to Scotland yet. I want to do that. But Canada, United States, is where I've been. But they're just a lot of fun. So that's an easy one for me. When the question is, at what times, name a time in your life, where you're the happiest and why. And those are just fun. I just like them. They're easy and they're fun and they're a good recharge, and you're outside and outdoors, and yeah, everything about it. I just love it. So that's my third answer. I got one more video that I'm going to do on this, on the times and things that make me the happiest, and so we'll do that, and then we'll move on to the next question. So see ya.